Hey everybody, welcome to Pink Shade. It's Thursday and you know what it means. It's Shades of Bravo. Again, guys, I'm still taking recommendations for the Thursday episode. I mean, has it been 4 years and I can't quite nail down what I want Thursday to be called? We talk about Bravo, we talk about pop culture. Shades of Bravo just doesn't roll off the tongue. It doesn't do it for me. Lots of people have sent me great recommendations, so thanks. Keep them coming. One of them will hit just right, and that'll be the answer. But for now, it's Shades of Bravo. And my guest today is Gibson Johns. So Gibson, first of all, Gibson Johns is such a good name, but he's an entertainment journalist. He's a TV host. He's a reality TV commentator. He's known for his Bravo hot takes. Of course, that's why he's here. We're mutual friends with our pal, Kate Casey. He does celebrity interviews. He's got a huge Twitter account, which I guess we now have to call X. He's conducted hundreds of interviews with celebrities and also Real Housewives, which is what we're really here to get the tea on. And he's been a moderator at BravoCon. I'm interested in that. Gibson, thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a pleasure, And thanks to Kate. Shout out to Kate for connecting us.
Kate is so good at that. I mean, I'll just get a random text from her and be like, you talked about your husband's alcoholism on this podcast. This person also does this and has a spouse that's in recovery as well. You two should meet. I'm like, okay. Hi, nice to meet you.
Right on.
Yeah. She's really, really, really great at that.
I love a connector. Yeah.
Shout out to Kate Casey. We're both in New York City.
Yes.
I'm endlessly fascinated by New York City apartments. And today I was with Matt Maher of the Reality Gaze podcast, and we were walking around and we went to the Upper East Side to some like fancy high-end consignment stores because that's what I like to do when I'm in New York. And we were like, why aren't we over here in the Upper East Side? This is where we need to be staying.
Oh, that's where all the fabulous people are.
It was super fancy over there. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It's cleaner up there too.
It was so nice. And there wasn't so many crazy people on the street. I was like, Upper East is where it's at. Could never afford it.
I'm in the East Village where I like that it has a little bit of grit. You never know what you're gonna see when you step outside your door. So keeps it interesting.
Are you in the East Village? Is where Andy Cohen is, or he's in the West Village?
He's West Village. Yeah.
He's West Village.
He's king in the West Village. Yeah.
Oh, king of the West Village. Okay. That's hilarious. Okay. Well, you know what? You should claim yourself king of the East Village.
Maybe the prince, I'm not at king level yet. Getting there.
Okay. So you're a real journalist. Did you go to school for journalism?
No. I went to school for communications because I went to University of Michigan, and they didn't have anything more specific than communications. And I just know I liked media and writing.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I kind of fell into all of this. Honestly, I've always loved pop culture, and I've always liked to write, and I've always thought I was pretty good at writing, but like I still don't even know if I consider myself like a capital J journalist, I just sort of, I'm in this because I'm interested in it, and I think it's fun, but I don't know. Yeah. I wrestle with that sometimes. Yeah. I get that.
I think, but what if you say I'm an entertainment journalist? Does that make it a little,
I guess
a little better for you?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But I guess I think about like, I think I see some people who do interviews and they're like so polished and so like just really studied, and I'm just not. That's not my style. I ramble and I trip over my words, but that's just kind of how I am. So this is what it is.
Well, okay. So how did you go from like, okay, I'm going to study communication. I'm going to, by the way, that's what my son is in college. That's what he's studying.
Awesome.
He's studying integrated marketing communications in the School of Journalism and New Media.
Amazing.
Try to memorize that. Yeah.
Right. But I love how specific that is. Like, I did not have that option. It was just like communications,
Yeah.
So.
And but even more specifically, he's going to focus on sports marketing. So it's like even more specific.
Wow.
So that's what he's doing. He doesn't want to like write or be an on air or anything. He's just interested in the marketing of people in sports, mostly. That's what he's interested in. So there's a major out there for everybody. Well, okay. So how did you go from that to like, all right, I'm really going to get into this pop culture, housewives, situation? How did that go from I'm graduated from college from communications, I'm trying to do something, and then kind of go into this pop culture realm?
Yeah, so I had interned at AOL for 2 summers during college,
Wow,
and
AOL.
my old babysitter worked there, and so yeah, like,
Wow.
that was sort of how I sort of got my foot in the door, and I got an internship there, came back to a different team the next summer, and then I went there full time right after college, a month after I graduated, and I was sort of on, like, the general news team, like, writing and curating content for them. But then I saw this team of on the entertainment team who were talking to celebrities and going to cool events, and I was like, "I wanna do that."
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
kinda I could put my hat in the ring, and I was like, "I will take any interview that you don't wanna do. I will
Mm.
if you can't go to an event, I will go." So
Yeah,
I just sort of made myself available, and then I started getting some stuff like that they couldn't go to, and some of it was good, some of it was totally forgettable. But that's how I cut my teeth. That's how I
yeah.
like was able to really get a lot of practice. I interviewed so many like HGTV stars that I'd never heard of before, and I love
That's fun.
HGTV.
Yeah,
It was so cool, but it was so cool, and it is cool. I just had never heard of a lot of the people that I was talking to, but I was learning a lot, and
yeah.
so and in part, as I sort of got way more practice and was doing more of that, I somehow, I don't know what my first Bravo interview was. I wish I could remember, but I started interviewing Bravo people here and there. And then you just sort of build those contacts up. It's good placement for Bravo on the website. And
Mhm.
so I would do like written interviews with them on the website. And then
Mm.
it just kind of, it went from there. I started a show for Yahoo, which is AOL and Yahoo combined.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it just sort of went from there. So I just sort of happened. I just was like, oh, I'll follow this Bravo thread because I like it. It's better. They're better interviews than regular celebrity interviews because celebrities don't tell you anything. And Bravo people, their currency is dishing their life,
Yeah, yeah.
So they're always more fascinating to talk to and more fun. So
And they're
I went
probably
that route.
less media trained than a lot of
Totally.
celebrities. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. So that's the story of how I got here. There's some missing links in there, but that's essentially what happened.
Um, okay, so tell me also you have a podcast, so tell me
Yes,
Gabbing with Gib. So
Gabbing with
Gabbing
Gib.
with Gib. So tell
Yes.
me what?
So that, last year, I started it last year, last fall, when I was still at Yahoo, but I realized I didn't really have any control over what I did with them. They could make
Mm,
decision power, and so I started this on the side, and it's been great. I do twice a week, so usually it's usually an interview on Tuesday. So I'll have somebody on from Bravo on. Like last week, I had Caroline Stanberry. This week, I have Jennifer Pedranti from OC.
oh,
Um, and who else do I have come? I had a lot of the Mormon wives come on from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Like, so I
yeah,
do some other reality stuff too. It's not only Bravo. It's probably 85% Bravo.
yeah,
And then on Fridays, I have somebody on to talk about the shows, and just kind of analyze and discuss, and it's been fun.
yeah,
It's been
yeah.
really it's as it's like it's so fun to just have like be the sort of the master of your own destiny and just like kind of do whatever you want to do with your show. It's really fun.
Totally, and that's why, because I cover a lot of TLC stuff, and that's why it's same thing like on Thursday, like I was saying, I always talk about Bravo, but I always wanna interview somebody interesting, and it doesn't have to be 1 hour, we're only gonna talk about Bravo, like, I just
Right.
wanna talk, to you because you talk about Bravo, so I'm like, "Oh, well, this is my
Yeah,
person."
I love that.
So, yeah,
It's so fun.
so Jennifer Pedranti, okay, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So you guys, if you don't know, she's on the OC.
Mhm.
She's Jen number 2 with the boyfriend husband named Ryan number 2, except for Ryan Ryan, not
Right.
same one. Looks the same, but not the same.
You're good with names, Mary Payne.
Yeah,
You're good with
I'm
names.
really not. I really not. So well, listen, you couldn't forget Jennifer and Ryan, and now we've got Jennifer and Ryan, but the one that was the plastic surgeon, her husband's name was Ryan, but he changed it to Ryan. I mean,
Yeah, so
you can't
bizarre. So
that's
bizarre. Yeah, that sticks with you. You're right. You're right. That sticks with you.
that sticks with you. I couldn't tell you the name of those twins that were on The Real Housewives of New Jersey, like, I couldn't tell you
Oh,
their names.
no, not for the life of me.
See?
Nope.
No, no, and you probably interviewed 'em. So when you interviewed Jennifer Pedranti, let's talk about that because she does seem very, very sweet. She
Yeah.
does. But she seems maybe am I seeing her on television, maybe not so world savvy?
Yeah, I think that's valid. I think that, like, I've been really drawn to her, honestly, since she came on the show last season, so this is her 2nd season. I just think
Mhm.
that she has this quality about her that feels like an old school housewife, where she is really open about her life, like, almost compulsively. Like, she can't really help herself, just be, like, kind of be a fully open book,
I
and I
see
think
that.
that and something that I've noticed about newer age housewives is that they worry a lot about how they're coming across, how well liked they are,
Right.
the sort of image of it all, whereas, like, she's not really worrying about that, She's like, yeah, I'm broke. I didn't pay my rent, and my divorce isn't finalized, and so I had to move in with my boyfriend earlier than I wanted to. And she's just kind of like being, you know what, this is what it is, and I really appreciate that about her. And like, yeah, I think there is an element of like maybe being like slightly naive or a little bit like, um, in over her head a little bit, but like
Yeah.
it's compelling to me, and I like that she isn't shying away from, like, showing it and still getting glam in the process, so but she was a great interview, like, she was like I asked her about finalizing her divorce and the money stuff and Ryan's, reported connection to this gambling scheme that's been
Okay, what did she say
resolved.
about that? I'd
He
like
said
to
that
know what she
she said that he's been cleared. He's not connected to it, but it's their really good friends that have not are connected to it or are not cleared in that investigation. But Ryan has been cleared according to her in my interview with her.
okay.
Yeah, and
I'd
we'll
like
see it
to
on this season.
yeah, I'd like somebody else, to determine whether he's been cleared because I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, there hasn't been like a public. I tried to look it up. Like, there hasn't been like a big public update about that, other than
Yeah.
what she said. So I think it's hard to like confirm that, but she's saying he's cleared, so we'll see.
Okay, alright. Well, again,
Yeah,
I think she seems very sweet, and she does remind me in some ways of Gina on the OC because Gina came in as an outsider
sure.
from Long Island or wherever the heck she's from, whatever with the
Fine.
accent, you can't tell, and so she came in as, like, a young outsider, not from the California area, and, kind of in a bad marriage where some bad things happened. All of it is similar,
Yeah,
so it was very interesting to me this season when people are like, "Oh, I can't believe Gina's being so mean to her, this and that." I said, "Well, I think what Gina sees is the way that she could have gone, which would be like, oh, well, I'll just find a rich boyfriend and move in with him. And oh, well, but Gina, I think, is such a hustler and has changed
she's
her life.
scrappier.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
scrappy. She's changed her life for the better in that um, couldn't pay her rent. So she did move into this like 2 bedroom tiny place with her boyfriend. She just sort of
that's
like did
totally
what she
valid.
had to do. And so I think
Yeah,
that's why she was so, she could see Jennifer as a mirror to herself and she didn't like how it could have gone the other
totally.
way.
Totally, and
Yeah.
I think that's probably really true, and I've had the theory sort of I think that's sort of subconsciously one of the reasons why she was really hard on Jen, and this is subconscious. I don't think this was a conscious thing, but I think that an element of her, like you said, she came in and she for the past 5 years, she's been, the one who lived in the casita and the one who has the money problems and the bad extensions. I
Yeah.
think that she was kind of eager to not be that person anymore. And so now
Yeah.
and then Jen's having these issues and it's like, well, I have a good real estate career. I have it figured out. I have a house. Like, you know what I mean? So I kind of think that there was an element of that, like, oh, I don't have to be this person. I don't have to play that role on the show anymore, you know?
Yes. Yes, there's somebody on the show that's, more poor than I am. So they can be the poor one, and I can be the
Listen,
almost poor one,
you
you
said
know?
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have to interview them, you do.
Yeah.
So tell me, okay, lately besides Jennifer Padronte, have you had any New Jersey people on? Have you had anybody on that you felt yeah, have you had any New Jersey people
The
on
only
lately?
this season, they were much more, like, restrictive in terms of who got access to the housewives on Jersey, and I
Oh,
only
oh, I
yeah.
know.
Yeah, I only got Danielle on, and it was very early in the season. It was because I remember I asked her, like, "Oh, are you already sort of do you, like, collect receipts throughout the season for the reunion?" And we
Mhm.
talked about the reunion for, like, 5 minutes, and then, obviously, as we all know, they canceled the reunion, like, midway through the season or whatever, so that I interviewed her before they made that announcement, so it was pretty early in the season. Yeah,
Okay. I,
yeah.
talked to Margaret after the
Oh,
season,
fun.
and
On the
that
show.
literally was yeah, I talked to her here on this show. It was a few weeks ago because it was only because, um, I don't know if you know Anthony, her PR person, so I know
Yes.
Anthony, yeah, and then my producer Ingrid, who's one of my really good friends, ran into Margaret in New York City at a Black Crowes concert.
How
I mean,
random. I love it.
in the lobby, and Ingrid just went up to her and was like, "Hey, we met you at BravoCon, da 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 da." And she's like, "Of course, I remember you gals. You're the one that gave me the fan," because they gave her like a portable fan because it was hot. And literally grabbed Ingrid's phone and put her phone number in Ingrid's phone. Was like, "Call me anytime. I'll do the interview."
Love. I love
Yeah, but
that.
then when it came time, it was like, yeah, no, they're not allowed to do anything, you know?
And this is
And
after the season.
this was mid-season when she said she could do it, and then
Got it.
right then they said no.
And then she
They
did it
said
after with you.
after. Mhm.
Got it. Got it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. I ran in so there was a in June they had the Watch What Happens Live 15th anniversary party
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
they invited all the people that have been on Watch What Happens Live 15 times.
Yes.
And she was there. Her, Melissa, and Teresa were all there. And I was talking to
Okay.
them. I was like, I was because I interviewed them every season usually. And I was like, God, I wish I could have you on the show. And they were like, yep, we're not allowed. Wish we could. We have a lot to
Did
say.
they speak at all? Did they speak at all?
And I mean, no. Well, also that party that famously they had to, there was handlers for Teresa and Melissa to keep that to make sure they stayed apart on opposite sides of the room.
Yeah.
So no,
Yeah.
it wasn't really a spilling a thing, but they were just like, fuck, we have a lot to say, we want to say, but we can't. So
Yeah. I
Jersey,
think we'll
not too much action this season. Yeah,
yeah, and I think we saw what we needed to see, and I love Dolores, and I love
me too.
Margaret. I
Me too.
like Melissa, Danielle,
Hmm.
Rachel. Yeah, the only ones I really don't like, this is me speaking, I'm not a fan of Teresa and really not a fan of Jen Aiden.
Hmm.
Um, I'm just not. It rubs me the wrong way. And again, you never know if you talk to somebody in person how different they might be than what they portray on the show. Everybody
Totally.
says in real life, if you meet Teresa, she's the sweetest person ever.
Yeah, I've met her
That's
several times. I've interviewed her several times, and she is a really sweet person. What I think changed was Louis. I think Louis changed everything, and I think he made things much darker and much more honestly like kind of dangerous feeling. Like there's
yes.
this feeling in the air that just like was like a dark energy when he came into the show, and it got increasingly darker as the seasons went on. And so I think Teresa is a sweet person at heart. I just think that he influences her in a not so great way sometimes. That's what I think.
Yeah, it's interesting too when you see women on your TV, and I can see, the stereotypes of every woman I've known in my life. I'm sure somewhere I'm on there as well,
Right.
a stereotype of the kind of woman that I am. But it's interesting with Teresa in a lot of ways. It's similar to Fun Lexi on
Mm.
OC. It's like, oh, I'm going to be what this man wants me to be,
And I'm gonna
and
ride
I've
hard for this man. Hmm.
and I'm gonna this is my man, my man. Now I watch do a lot of TLC and Love After Lockup and stuff, so I get a lot of my man, my man. I get it a
Uh-huh.
lot, but to see these like accomplished women in their own right, just to be
Hmm.
like, no, I'm gonna stand up for my man, and that's my man, and I'm gonna to my own detriment. And you're like, girl,
Yeah,
no,
I
stand
know
up for
it's
yourself.
totally, and they have it in them. Obviously, it's just like, yeah, I think that that's a really good parallel between Alexis and Teresa. It's because it becomes like all they fight for. It becomes kind of like their whole personality, especially with Alexis. But yeah, I think with Teresa, it's like I want her,
Yes,
I want her to be like freed from that, from his influence and his grasp. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know.
and not a lot of people that have interviewed her or wanna stay good with Bravo, a lot of people won't say that about Louis, I feel. I feel like a lot of people that are trying to make sure they get their screeners or make
Right.
sure Bravo continues to give them the interviews, won't really say, "Well, I think the problem here is Louis. He
Yeah.
seems dangerous. He seems scary. He says things that are scary." And not a lot of people that are trying to keep on the good side of Bravo will say it, I think, because they
I
wanna make
know.
sure if Teresa stays around, they'll continue to get those interviews and stuff, you
Yeah.
know?
For me, it's
I'm
like,
like,
and I can be really economical with my words, and for that reason
yes,
sometimes. But I also, for me, it's like the instances where I can just like kind of really let it fly are instances where I think it's like pretty black and white and pretty obvious that there's a right and wrong. And he's one of those
Yes.
instances for me. You know what I mean? Like, I just think it's like,
Yes.
to me, objectively speaking, you watch the show, it's like, how can you not think that? And I know there's a lot of people that don't think that, which blows my mind. And they're entitled to think that way. I just can't even like wrap my mind around like watching him and being like, wait, did you not see the scene before the finale lunch when he said, "What's your plan?" She says, "I don't have one." He says, "Well, this should be your plan." And he
Mhm.
wished ill on Margaret's son and her family.
Mhm.
And it's like, how can you not? How can you have a different takeaway from that? I don't
Right.
get it. Yeah,
Right. I think that we saw Dolores, who had a scene with Margaret where she got really, really mad when Margaret said,
yeah,
"Yeah, you were invited to that lunch where we were gonna discuss the reunion," and Dolores, called her the C word and everything, was, like, furious with her about it, and I think that I kinda didn't get that because I was like, "Well, you didn't do anything wrong if somebody just
right.
sent you a text. You didn't do anything wrong by receiving the text and saying, 'No, I'm not coming,' or not even responding because obviously I'm not." She got really, really mad about that, and I thought that was so telling because 'cause you're like, "Okay," but then you see the flip when we had the reunion, not reunion, when they're
Mhm.
sitting in rails, which, by the way, did you find that so confusing? Because they were showing the rails episode and then showing the real time, and you're like,
I did
"Which?"
not like the watch party. I didn't like it. It didn't work for me. There was a lot of things they could have done differently with that, and it was just really clunky, I thought.
It was
It was
clunky and it was confusing because they were
yes.
in similar clothing schemes in the same restaurant, so you couldn't tell what was real time and then what was 2 months ago.
So true. Yeah, so true. And also, like, they were pausing it at different times, so you were like, "Are we watching it the same pace?" There was a lot of it that was
Yeah,
just yeah, it was weird.
they should have had
Didn't
all the
didn't work.
ladies with, like, a similar, like, green screen background, so and then
Yes.
have them all wear the same color so that we would know now they're commenting on this because otherwise it was back and forth. I digress. But when they showed Louis saying, "I
Right,
hope Margaret suffers and I hope her son suffers." When they showed that and Dolores said, "Teresa, that's not right. That's really bad." And she goes, "I don't care." And Dolores said it again. "No, that's actually really bad. Like, you can't say that. That's really bad." And almost I feel you have to talk to Teresa like that, like a toddler. "That's really bad." And she was like, "I don't care because my kid suffered." And Dolores is like, giving her that look like, "This is not a one-to-one,
no,
no."
it's not. No, no,
And
there's a yeah, it's not.
that's why I love Dolores, right? Because she can
Yeah,
be both those things. She can yell at Margaret like, "Don't embarrass me on camera," but also look at Teresa like, "Are you kidding me that he said that?
right.
That
I
is
what I
really bad."
Yeah, and I hate the criticism that Dolores can't play the middle, like, a lot of people think that, and I'm like, I think that's authentic to her, I think that's who she is, I think that
Yeah,
she doesn't that's just how she's a loyal, very loyal person, and I
yeah,
love that she picks her moments, we don't see her call out Teresa all the time, we don't see her call out
mm-mm.
Margaret at all either, but then we saw 2 moments where she picked her times really well. One of them was a lot more intense than we expected it to be, I would say, but, like,
Yeah, that was like, wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was and if you watch the uncensored version on Peacock, it was, like, extra wow. But,
Yes. The
like, you
uncensored, I'm always like, because 'cause you're expecting it, because like, I curse like a sailor, so it
right, of
doesn't
course.
bother me, but if you're watching it, when somebody starts throwing around the C word, you're like, it hits.
Effing
It hits.
C word, full-throated, it was, like,
Yes.
full-throated, and she was
Eh,
bright red, yeah, it was I actually haven't seen anything like that, I don't think, on Housewives before, but,
yeah.
yeah, I like that she picks her moments, and I respect it. I respect Dolores a lot, I really do.
And I know that they're saying they don't have a plan, but I
Yeah.
do actually wonder when they showed that final scene before the non-reunion with, Jackie skulking out and then,
Yeah, that was
which
amazing.
they did her no favors on those angles, and then Dolores sitting at the table with all the food,
Uh-huh.
it seemed so poetic, like, okay, so what we're getting now is it's gonna be Dolores with I personally think I've said it a million times, I'm not the only one, lots of people have said it.
Uh-huh.
If Teresa is so fucking great, if she's so amazing and has such a fan base, let's spin her off over here, give her a show
Exactly.
with
Yep.
Louie and her daughters. Great.
Yeah. No,
Let's see how
that's
it
the
does.
plan that I have also been advocating for. 'Cause listen, I don't think Teresa should be off the network. She's a huge star. She's a bankable star. I
Yes.
just think that
Yeah.
I mean, talking about never letting anything go, it's like we're
Yep.
bringing up things from 12 years ago still. So if you really want a fresh start, to me, that doesn't mean keeping Teresa around on the show.
Yes, and I don't think it has to be a whole
I don't want it to be
reboot
either.
like New
No.
York. I don't think I really haven't heard one person that has said, like, "Clean house and let's do" like what we saw with New York, like, we like the ladies that we like. We don't need
Yeah.
new ones,
Yeah, I talked
you
about this on
know?
my podcast recently with somebody, and it's sort of like basically the Roni reboot and the recent sort of slight reboot, not reboot, but like the cast shuffle kind of OC where they brought Heather back, they brought Tamara back, and they also have injected new faces. That's kind of proven to be the more successful way to revive a show, is
Yes,
to sort of
yes.
have it be a mix of old and new, an unexpected return, some people that stay constant. It's like you have to have sort of a mixed bag, but you do have to have some sort of tie to the original, the beginnings
Yeah.
of the show, because then it starts to feel like a different show. Like to me, Roni reboot is a different show than OG Roni. It's just a different show. It's not the same franchise in my mind.
I think it was Sonia or somebody said on an interview, maybe it was Sonia said, "I don't like how they're saying, Roni, season 18 or wherever.
Right.
That's not fair. They're not on
Yeah.
season 18. That's
They're
their
on season
season
2.
1."
Yeah.
Yeah, so they should have said that, Roni season 1.
I
But
kind of agree.
what would they have done? They should have put Real Housewives of Manhattan. They should have, like, renamed it, you know?
Roni 2.0 season 1. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was like, I get it. So I just really, really that's what I hope. I hope
Yeah, me too.
Bravo will hear our prayers and just spin Teresa off. Show with
Yeah.
Louis. See who wants to watch that. And keep the cast as it is. Keep it going in and out, people as they normally do, new people, well, whatever, how they rotate people. And then when it doesn't work out with Louis in about 5 years, let's bring Teresa back and see how that goes.
Well, yeah, that's also what I'm sort of keeping the back of my mind is like, let's say they choose the Teresa side of things, keep her on the show, kind of build it out again from her side. Let's just say they do that. I hope they don't, but they might. And if you think about it, like they bring back people all the time to these shows. So it's like we might say goodbye to Margaret and Melissa and whoever for a couple seasons, but
Yeah.
they're always going to be down to come back, like
Yeah,
they'll.
always.
So it's like I think it's a reset for the next 2 to 3 years, and then, as you said, things will happen and things will change, and they might go back to the roots.
It's interesting. I heard Margaret on Juicy Scoop, and then I asked her about this as well. Um, she was talking about what happened with her son and Louis, and which I didn't realize because they didn't say it on that reunion 2 years ago. That Louis did not just call the son and be like, "Hey, I know you're Margaret's son and know where you work." He spoke to him on the phone and said something threatening. The police were involved. It was a threatening phone call where there was a threat made. Now, obviously, she's not going to go further than that, and that's fine. But my whole thing is, oh, what was the threat?
Right.
What was the threat? I'm going to kill your mom? Like, what was the threat?
Because threat is a catch-all label to put onto something.
Mhm.
It's like it can mean a wide range of things. It really can.
Right.
Yeah.
So I
That's
would like to
I didn't
know.
realize that she
Yeah.
had said that. I didn't see that. That's interesting.
Yeah, she said it on Heather's podcast, and then I asked her about it on mine. I was like, I said, maybe people don't realize that because I think what we got from that last reunion is that he called your son, who's not a public figure. Nobody knows who he is. I mean, I guess somebody could figure it out if they really wanted to. I said, but he called your son at his place of business. And she said, and he threatened him, and the police were
Mhm.
called. And I said, so it's an active police investigation. She said, yes, it is.
And that's why she didn't give more details, I guess,
Mhm.
because I do think that like the way that it was presented on the reunion last year, it kind of gave Louis some plausible deniability. Like
Mhm.
where's the proof that this happened? And there weren't that
Yeah.
many details about it. I always believed it happened, but to get more details, like Marge's not going to make that up out of thin air. So to get more
No.
details about it is telling.
So then when I was talking to her, I also said, I started to write in my notes here, how did you feel about having to film with him? And then I realized you didn't film with him at all. She said, no, we were at one event together and that was it. She said, I would not, I won't be in the room with somebody who's threatened my family, you know? And then so knowing that he did that, called and threatened her son on the phone and then said to Teresa, I hope she suffers and I hope her son suffers when he's the one that's already done that.
Right.
That's why it's just like the dark cloud over this
Mhm.
guy.
It's not going away.
It's dark energy like a cult leader, right? You know?
I mean, it's just think about and it's just sort of like, where are the green flags? I'm sorry, like I'm really just like it's like all these things that it's also this is what he's showing us on the show. Imagine what we're
Right.
not seeing from him. I'm sorry, like
Great
it's
point.
very much giving dark energy that I don't really want to be exposed to.
Yeah.
So
And as much as I'm not like a giant Teresa fan, I don't want that for her and
no,
her
of
kids
course not.
either.
I want the best for her. You know,
Yeah.
she's fought. She's an amazing mother who has fought for a lot and kind of and really maintain a hustle and a level of lifestyle for her family that is because of
Yeah.
her, you know, and it's
Right.
incredibly impressive. It's incredibly impressive, and she's gone through a lot. There's no taking that away from her. But that doesn't mean that I'm just gonna like blindly support whoever she's chosen to spend her life with, you know?
Yeah.
If I
Right.
think that he's bad news, like I think she's probably surrounded by a lot of yes people who are telling her that, who don't actually believe that.
I'm still just dying to know what happened with Frankie Jr. because obviously something happened
That is
there and
tea. That is tea. They talk around that a lot.
a lot. And that's because Dolores is like, he had a job with him and we were appreciative and he doesn't work there anymore. Move on.
Right. Something happened. There's no question.
Yeah.
Something
God,
happened.
how will we find out?
Mm.
How will we find out?
You should have asked Margaret. You should have asked Margaret.
I sort of said to her something about that, and she said Dolores is protecting her son and doesn't want anything about
Okay.
him on
It's in the
television.
vault. It's in the vault. Yeah,
And I
it's in the
said, but
vault.
he was on our television. She said, not for a few seasons. I was like,
That's true.
okay.
He hasn't been on that much in recent seasons. That is true.
That's what she said. I
Yeah.
mean, Margaret's like, no, he's not on anymore. I was like, okay, moving on. Y'all remember the days when you could fall asleep after a night on the town in your makeup, or maybe if you're dealing with kids all day and you just can't take your makeup off, or if you just don't wash your face before bed because you're like, who cares? I'm young. Well, guys, for me, those days are over. I'm a lady of a certain age, and I have noticed a lot of changes in my skin tone and texture. I see the fine lines, I see the wrinkles. You know what? And if you're there, you're not alone. I'm right here with you. But here's the good news. Today's sponsor, OneSkin, has developed a skincare line that targets these changes where they start, and that is your cells. You guys, this is scientific. You just cleanse your face, you pat your skin dry, and you apply OneSkin topical product twice a day. That's what I do, guys. But you gotta wash your face. Do you have products that you can't live without? I do too. I have some that I can't quit. So I apply One Skin topical face, eye, body, and shield. You could use it under other things that you like. Just put that on first, put it right into your skincare routine. That's what I've been doing. One Skin's topical supplements are powered by their proprietary peptide OS1. It is scientifically proven to target the dysfunctional cells. I mean, it's kind of rude to call the cells dysfunctional, but that's what they are, the dysfunctional cells that start to accumulate around age 30. These are the cells that will start to make your skin look dull and dry and get more prone to lines and wrinkles. So, their topical supplement is targeting those particular cells. Plus, all of OneSkin's products for the face and body are backed by lab and clinical studies and more than 8,000 five-star reviews. For a limited time, you can try OneSkin for 15% off using code PINKSHADE when you check out at oneskin.co. You guys, I'm recommending the topical face supplement. I use the eye supplement and I've also used the sunscreen. I use the body shield as well, and I've been really concentrating on the back of my hands. Okay. So try OneSkin for 15% off using the code PINKSHADE when you check out at oneskin.co. Start your new scientifically proven skincare routine today with OneSkin. Hey, y'all, my favorite place to buy anything is Quince. And I mean anything, guys. I feel like, could go over there and be like, you know what? I'm looking for a perfect dress for this wedding that's going to be 4 months from now, and you just look and it's there. You guys, they have everything you need. They have the jewelry, they have the gorgeous handbags, they have amazing shoes. And I just bought for myself a long silk slip dress. So normally I wouldn't wear something like that because I would think, I don't know how this is going to look. Well, I got two sizes, put it on, and guess what I put with it? My little Quince black cashmere cardigan. You guys, I'm going to be so cute on my New York trip. That's what I'm wearing one of the nights we go out. I'm very excited about this. Also, recently got a suitcase from Quince. I'm taking that on my trip as well. I should take pictures of all these things for y'all. I'm telling you, the other day I found on there this gold necklace with a diamond in it. And I was like, putting this into my cart because guess whose birthday is coming up? It's mine. You know, they have these timeless classic guys. You can make a capsule wardrobe of all the classic items. I say you get a bunch of like black and camel items, put them in your wardrobe, and then you just have these classic things that will go with anything else you want. It's incredible. Again, you guys, that cardigan sweater I got, they have the cashmere for only starting at $50. The silk dress was so inexpensive, so inexpensive. If I would have gotten it from another place I won't name, it would have been 3 times as much. Okay. So upgrade your closet this fall with Quince. Right now, you're going to go to quince.com/pinkshade to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's a long time. That's a long time to think about something. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/pinkshade for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/pinkshade and let me know what you got. Okay, let me ask you about being a moderator at BravoCon.
Mhm.
So I went to the one that was in New York 2 years ago,
In Javits
2022.
Center, the second one?
Yeah, and
Yep.
then I went to Vegas.
Mhm.
And so tell me about your panels. What did you get
Yeah.
questions? What panels were they, and did you
Yeah.
get to write your own questions?
Okay, so I've done 3 BravoCon panels.
Mhm,
I did 2 at the first one, the first in 2019, so before the
mhm.
pandemic.
Yeah,
The first BravoCon, and I did one that was like housewife to housewife, so it was a mixture of women. So it was Melissa,
uh-huh,
Emily Simpson wearing her
love.
boot after she like broken her foot or
Oh,
something,
yeah,
and then Ashley Darby and
love.
Giselle. So it was those
Okay, love.
4, which is a good group, right? It was a really
Yeah,
fun group, and that was like pretty light. Like I think the mixture of housewives, you don't really get as much into like the drama stuff because
yeah,
like you're kind of talking about what it's like to be a housewife and like you kind of just wait
yeah.
for those. Yeah, but I'm trying to think. I definitely submitted some questions, but they do hand you. I got handed cards with stuff printed out on them. Like
Yeah.
you're not. I was never told what like which ones I had to ask. It's basically suggestions.
Okay.
And so it's like, it's implied like sort of stick to the script, especially because you know that like the fan questions can like literally just like run the gamut,
Yeah, yeah.
and really kind of get there. So that was the first one. And then also that first year, speaking of Teresa and Dolores, it was the Sunday morning. So it was the first panel of the day. And it was it was just Teresa and Dolores. And
Okay.
they were running late because of traffic coming across the city. And so they came in like we started 15 minutes late.
Uh-huh.
And they came in super apologetic. Like they came in and we were on stage in 20 seconds. Like they were like, let's go.
Yeah.
Like we know we're so sorry, whatever. And because of that, Teresa, and not maybe because of that, but I think maybe to compensate for being late, Teresa came in with like such good energy onto that panel. Like they came out with a champagne bottle and Teresa shook it up and sprayed it into the crowd at 10:30 in the
Oh my god.
morning.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord. Okay.
And
Yeah.
the concept of the panel for some reason was making quote unquote Sunday sauce, which is what Italians call tomato sauce for
Yeah,
like
right, right,
the
right.
Sunday suppers.
Uh-huh.
And so they basically the concept of the panel was them making pasta and pasta sauce from scratch on a hot
Okay.
plate while
Okay.
I asked them questions from the couch.
That
That was the
seems
setup. Really
seems
natural. Yeah, really, really, yes. And the best part was that we get on stage and they start cooking. The hot plate hadn't been turned on. So they had been stirring tomatoes in a cold pan for like 10 minutes. And then we had to like eat it after. Oh my God. But it was
Oh,
but it was really fun because I will say, their energy around Jersey can be can again run the gamut. It can
Mhm.
be really positive, it can be really negative. But I think if when the Jersey women come in with the really positive celebratory energy, they get that back, and it's
Yeah.
it's it's a New York crowd, it's a New Jersey crowd, and it was just the energy in that room. I remember it like it was yesterday. People showed up for the first panel for Teresa and Dolo, and it was just great. Like
Yeah.
it was great. All right, so that was the first year. The second year when you were there in Javits, I
Yeah.
did one. I did the Family Karma panel, which I was
You know,
actually
I'm obsessed with Family Karma.
yes, I love
Please,
Family Karma.
where's
I
the new
know.
season? Where
I
is it?
know, I know, and
Where is it?
they had a great 3rd season with 2 weddings, 1 gay Indian wedding that was so
Yes.
emotional and cool to see on TV. I loved that show, and I love the different
I've interviewed
generations.
them, Nicholas
Yeah,
and Amrit. I
yeah,
love,
they're the
love.
best, like, and they're such a great cast, and I loved
Yeah.
how they included the different generation, like the parents and the grandparents. I thought that was so compelling and great.
The aunties.
They just never found the viewership, unfortunately, but that was the panel ahead of that 3rd season they had, and we like debuted the trailer with all the wedding stuff, and it was the whole cast was on there. And I actually, because Javits was a huge step up in terms of size for
Mhm.
BravoCon,
Mhm.
and I was actually excited to like, and this is not shady, I just like wanted like it was a lower stakes panel for that. Like that was the
Yeah.
year of like Rinna post, like right before Rinna got fired. Like that was
I
the
was
that
I was there when she came
yeah,
out
me
flipping
too.
off the bird.
Me
Yep.
too.
Mhm.
She posted my footage of her flipping the bird and getting food. Like, and it
Yeah.
was that was the energy of that BravoCon. So I was like, okay,
Yes.
I don't need to, because also when you're hosting a panel like that, there's so much pressure to like deliver a good panel. And I was like, I don't
Oh.
really want to be that. I'm already going to be nervous going on stage in front of 1,000 people. I don't want to be nervous to like not deliver the goods,
And you
And with
won't. If they're
no,
giving you the questions and they're also telling you to stay away from
totally,
this or from that, you
totally.
won't get your questions answered that you want. You're gonna have to kinda go by the cards, and I
Yeah.
think that would be frustrating too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that for those bigger panels, they do kind of steer you.
Yeah.
There's no question.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Family Karma was great. It was great energy, and the people who wanted to be at that panel wanted to be at that panel, and that's what I really liked about it. Like yeah, it was a big room, but it was fun. It was really fun.
Oh my god, bring that show back.
I know.
Okay, and then what about this past year
I didn't do one this past year, but I was
in
there.
Vegas? But you were
Yeah, I
there.
was
Okay.
there. I had a media. So, and the fun thing is that I can get a media pass, which is like, if you have VIP, you go into the VIP room and they do those meet and greets, sort of like whoever
Yes.
shows up to those
Yep.
mixer kind of things. But in
Yeah.
the media room, it's basically like one big conference room with a long red carpet in it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
they all have to go there at some point in the weekend. Like it's part of their job and their commitment to being at BravoCon is to do the press line and the red carpet.
Yeah.
And so I kind of camped out in there for a lot of this past BravoCon because that was where I was gonna get my FaceTime with people and potentially
Yeah.
have run-ins and do all that. And so like that was a really good room to be in. It's really hard. Like, it's like scheduling a BravoCon. You're like, do I go to this room or do I go to this
Yes.
panel or do I go
Yeah.
to try to get a photo with this person or like that's the biggest headache for me. I think that the space was amazing this year or last year. But yeah, it was a different one because I didn't do a panel, but I was still in the media room, which was fun.
Well, for podcasters that were there, and it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if you're like have like a one day a show like me that talk about Bravo or somebody else that has a 5-day a week Bravo podcast. No media passes for us. And a lot of us podcasters, like at the very least for this podcasters, like the lowest rung of the media, that if they would at least give us a room, like the if you got a media badge, you got to go in that room. It would be
Like a
great for us
podcast
just to
room.
go in there
Yeah.
and just to sit with each other.
Yeah,
'Cause I
no,
would
I
run
and
into people, that I
yeah,
wanted to, like, chat with, but they were going to a panel, and I was going to the VIP room, or blah, 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 and I'm like,
yeah,
"Oh," I would see Sarah Golly, or I saw Emily Baker, or whoever, um, and you're just like, "Oh, I wanna talk to you for 5 minutes, but I can't," but it'd be so great if they had a room for the podcasters that were there to take a load off and chat and sit down and write your notes and everything.
yeah, I think it's a really great idea. I hadn't thought about that, and I also think that, like, if that room was also sort of dually set up to also, like, for any talent that wanted to pop in and, like, do a couple, like,
Yeah,
5-minute recordings with different podcasters, like, there are a lot of there are a lot of hustlers on Bravo who know the importance of getting onto shows and doing media like that, and, like, there are people that would do that. Like, a lot of them on the red carpet, like,
yeah,
they get so tired of it and they're, like, so over it, but some of them are, like, so
yeah,
game to just, like, do whatever, and that would be kinda cool if
yeah.
they had sort of, like, podcast setups for us next time. I think that could work out. That could work
Yeah.
out. Yeah,
And I think it could even be the idea of, all right, in this podcast room, we have 20 tiny booths. And as a podcaster throughout the weekend, you can reserve it 3 times. And it's
totally.
the same thing like beforehand, you have to reserve those photos or whatever,
Mhm.
or you reserve your time to go into the little smaller rooms. It'd be the same thing, just reserve it before time. Like, I don't know, maybe I'll reserve this room and I won't be able to use it because I have to be at something else, but I'll just take a guess. I'll reserve it every day at 11,
Yeah. No,
once, and then
that'd be
and
so
then
cool.
whoever's in there, you can talk to them.
Totally. No, I think that's and I also think that, like, I have always thought about, like, because 'cause I'll meet up with people at BravoCon. Next time I'll meet up with you, but, like,
Yes.
it's like, you meet up with your other, fellow creator, podcast host friends,
Yeah.
and I think that actually a lot of fans of Bravo would also want to, like, be part of that too. Like, if there was sort of like a
Yeah.
creator meetup situation where, like, anybody
Yeah.
could show up and, like, say hi to their favorite podcaster or, their
Yes.
favorite their Bravo Instagram page, like,
Yes.
that's something that they don't do yet, and I think that that would be a really nice addition, kind of and
Yeah,
pay it
because
forward. Yeah.
I mean, a few, and I mean a few, at both BravoCons that I went to, recognized me, but I was wearing a pink shade
I'm
shirt
sure.
because, like, I'm no dummy. I'm like, I'm gonna
Yeah, come on,
yeah,
branding. Come on.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm branding, but I'm walking around with, like, my friend Ryan Bailey, and
Oh,
he's
we
so
love Ryan.
recognizable. People are
Yeah.
coming up to Ryan, or I'm walking around with Doug Buden, who I'm friends with, who's
Mhm.
on Jeff Lewis's show, and people are coming up to him. So just meanwhile, I'm just like, "Hey, I have a podcast. It's called Pink Shade,"
That's great.
and
It's
hanging out in the
networking.
VIP, and I was hanging out with, like, Heather McDonald or Brandy and Julie, and people know them. But if there was a room just for the podcasters,
Be
you
cool.
know, it would be
Be
really
cool.
cool. So
I
listen,
agree.
put your 2 cents in when they ask you.
Oh, start laying the groundwork for that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate
Podcasters
that.
cocktail hour. Yep, exactly.
Yes.
Mhm.
Once listen, I'll pay to go. I like to meet other people too.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so you've interviewed tons of people, tons of
Mhm.
housewives. Okay, give me an example of a housewife or a Bravo lab that you've interviewed in all this time, 4 or 5
Mhm.
years, that somebody that said something that you were like, oh my gosh, this is gonna like get some traction because they said something they weren't supposed to, or they said something bad or something shocking. Give me a good example.
Okay, wow.
And if you've got more than one, I'll take it.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of the stuff that I've gotten pickup from.
Yeah.
Um, I remember this is not a naughty one, but something that got picked up was, like, Leah said on my show at Yahoo that she wasn't coming back to Roni, and not that it was her choice, but that she sort of I think it was when she was doing her book, like, and that got, like, pickup everywhere.
Okay.
Um, what did Larsa my first episode of Gabbing with Gabe was Larsa, and I'm trying
Mm.
to think what she said that got pickup.
She has sex 5 times a day with Marcus Jordan.
I mean, she said that everywhere, so shoot, you're putting me on the spot, and I feel like I'm totally blanking right now because I know that it's happened. Um,
Okay, think about it for 1 second.
yeah, I need to think about that, but
Okay,
yeah, let me think.
think about it for 1 second, and let's go. I wanna talk really quickly to you about the Jackson, Brittany, and the Valley. So,
Yes.
I was in LA earlier this year, and so I made it a point to go to Jax's bar, and I went with Ryan Bailey, actually,
And
which
how
was
was
fun.
it?
Well, Jax was there, and Brittany, because
Uh,
what we didn't realize when we booked it was a Tuesday night, and that was the night that The Valley aired, and it was only the 2nd episode ever, and so we were just there, and the whole cast comes in, and they sit in this couch in the middle, and then all of a sudden it switches, like Vanderpump Rules was on, and then it switched to The Valley, and they turned the TVs way up like it's like a football game. I'm like, "Okay." I was like, I'm sitting on a picnic bench,
Uh-huh.
eating beer cheese and with Ryan Bailey, and Kristen comes in with her guy, and I'm like, "This
Sounds like
is
heaven.
wild." I also went the next Tuesday, again, not realizing it was Tuesday. The next Tuesday, we went to Schwartz and Sandy's. And again, Tom Sandoval walks in, and I was like, "This is I
I mean,
am."
it's they know what they're doing. They're coming on the
Yes.
Valley night. Okay,
Yeah.
that you talking about the Valley, looping back to
Yeah.
your question,
Thoughts on
reminded me that
Jackson Britt. Yeah.
no, it reminded me of the interview question when
Oh,
Janet was on my show.
oh, okay.
It caused a huge controversy because she said, because she I think she had alluded to maybe a comment that was made about her that, but she colored in a lot of the Zach stuff and why they aren't friends. And that she said on my show that he had said that she told me that he said that he wanted her to miscarry. That was the comment that she said that he made to her, and she said that on my show. And then he responded to it, and then Kristen responded to it, and then Janet responded to their responses. And like they said it was bullshit, and she said it was like this whole crazy thing. And the minute she said that, I was like, wait, yeah. But I wasn't going to cut it out because it was, yeah. Yeah, that's the one. That was a recent one.
Did he say that? I would hope he didn't say that.
I don't know if there was ever proof given or whatever, but I also don't know if she would make that up. I think it was, I don't know. I'm not gonna like try to litigate
yeah.
But like,
Okay.
because but it was like such a touchy thing, obviously, to bring up and claim that he said.
Yeah.
And I was
Wow.
actually, then after that came out, I heard from a rep and they were like, oh, Zach wants to come on. He's really like, he wants to respond to what Janet said. And I was like, great, like totally welcome to come on my show. I'd love to interview him and hear his side of everything. And then I heard that he was actually too mad and he didn't want to come on. So he pulled out.
That's not the way to handle it, to be too mad.
I agree. I think maybe he thought that I was partial to Janet, but like I don't know them, like I hadn't met them before season 1. I've never met him. So never met Janet in person. So anyway, that was a little controversy that came out of it, I guess. So
okay.
Not when I love to be associated with, but like, it happened.
Well, okay, so Jackson Brittany, she officially filed for divorce and he got out of his. Now, I was on Daily Dose with Donna last week, and she told me that when Jax posted about when he got out of his mental health facility, that the first time he posted it said got out of a rehab, and then they took it down and changed the words to mental health facility. Why? What? Who would care if he went into rehab or mental health? Or usually, actually, they go hand in hand. Then, great, you're working on. He didn't want to be associated with addiction. He'd rather be associated that he has mental health. I mean, because by the way, and I know a lot about this, is that most people that have addiction are because they're masking some sort of mental health. They're self-medicating.
Sure, that makes sense. Yeah.
So why not just say that?
I wonder if it's just because it complicates the story. He's been going with this. And I also think that, I don't know. Maybe he thinks some people are more likely to sort of like give him some slack if it's like if he thinks if it's just like if it's a mental health thing. I don't know. Maybe he feels like he'll get more sympathy that way because it's hard for Jax to get sympathy from anybody.
Yeah,
and he knows that. I don't know. Like that, I saw something about that word change, and like I had the same reaction as you. I'm like, either way, it's like you're getting the help that you're getting help, and that's a great thing to do for yourself. And it takes strength. Like, I don't like Jax as a person, and he has me blocked on Twitter. But like anybody who's willing to help, anybody who's willing to like seek help for themselves, whether it's like authentic or performative or whatever, you're still seeking help, and like that I think is admirable in some ways. So I don't understand the name. I don't understand the word change. I think it's like a messaging thing over anything.
It's a messaging thing, but also I wonder if it has something to do with he thinks he won't get 50-50 custody of his child if he says he has an addiction issue. But either one of those.
But Brittany would know about that anyway. You know what I mean? Even if it's not public knowledge, like she's aware of what he has going on.
Yeah. Well, listen, justice for Brittany. She didn't make a good decision marrying him, but she finally figured it out like 10 years later.
And she got Cruz out of it. She got a son out of it. So
I was very surprised she didn't just go ahead and have 2 kids and like Khloe Kardashian it and be like, I don't care. I'm just gonna have 2 kids with the same guy and then I'm done.
I'm kind of surprised too. Yeah.
I think she was trying. She was trying to
try as she might.
Try to jump on it while I slept. And he was just like, no, I'm not doing it. You can't make me. Oh my God. You can't make me have sex with you. I won't do it. Well, I am excited that Kristen got engaged because listen, love her or hate her, Kristen is TV gold.
Yep.
And
100%.
On the Valley, Janet trying to cut her out of the trip. I was like, excuse me, ma'am, you're new here. Kristen has been on our screen and we ride or die for Kristen.
Yeah, no, Kristen's one of those people. She's messed up a lot in her life. But she's shown us all of it. She's shown us most of those missteps. kind of in like a Shannon Bedore kind of way,
Yes.
and because of that, even though that people like that can sometimes not get out of their own way, you still want to see them succeed. Like there's
Yeah.
part of you that still roots for that person,
Yes.
and you know, I'm happy for Kristen. Like this is what she wants, and she's getting it, and
Yeah.
great. Like, and it looked like a gorgeous proposal on a boat in Hawaii, like in front of the
I know.
cameras, like as she,
As she would
because
want.
she's a pro, yeah, and she's a pro, like of course on camera for us. Thank you.
The photos that we saw of her turning around and he's there, we're like, "Okay, I can't wait to see how this plays out on the show,"
Me
to be
too.
like, "Did she
Who's
really
taking those
know?" Because
photos?
the cameras are there.
Do they reenact it? You know,
Did
I
they
don't know.
reenact it? But she did look surprised, and I don't
He
think
did.
she's a great actress, you know?
The ring
Okay,
is
now
gorgeous. The ring is
the ring
gorge.
is gorgeous. We're
Yeah.
happy for Kristen.
Yes,
We're
I
happy for
agree.
Kristen. Okay, now last question we're gonna go into quickly. Now, listen, I've joke about this all the time. Bravo doesn't know me, they don't care. They do send me screeners, first episode only. Every time I ask, "Can I get the follow-up episodes?" The answer is always no. So they won't give me anything. And the only thing that makes me feel better is Ronnie Karam did tell me one time it took them years to get screeners. I'm like, okay, but they're not giving them to you guys automatically. All these years you've been covering Bravo only.
Mhm.
I'll take the one a season
Sure.
that they give me,
Yeah.
and I'll take what I can get. I'm just like
Yeah.
that girl. But I imagine so they did send it to me. Salt Lake. I haven't watched it yet. Have you
Mhm.
watched it, and what should we expect?
So I have it sitting in my inbox. I have it.
Okay.
And I went to the watch party last night in New York. Bravo had like an official watch party for it.
All right,
But
tell.
but when I've gone to two of those, and like
Mhm.
they're playing the episode, but like I'm
You're not.
schmoozing. I'm
Yes.
schmoozing, you know, like I'm not there to like sit and watch, you know, I'm there to like get some FaceTime with some important people, you know? So
Yes. Yes.
I didn't watch it really, but I actually watched a couple parts, but it's apparently an amazing episode. Like people were loving it in the room. Like there was like 100 people there, I would say, more than that, and everyone was loving it. They said it was an amazing episode. Um, it's like it's the, you know, when Angie brings the scroll of grievances she has with Meredith, like that's the episode. I know the
Okay.
Bronwyn making the entrance in the big like red heart thing from the trailer. That's this episode.
Okay.
Um, yeah, apparently it's a great one, and I didn't really pay attention to it last night, so I don't really have much to report from the
Well,
episode
who
itself.
is there? How about this? Tell us who was at the party.
We got Heather,
Love.
Lisa, and Meredith.
That's all you need.
Oh yeah, and then Salt Lake City got Mary, Whitney, and Angie.
Okay, let me tell you what, to be in a room with Mary Crosby would be that speaking
Listen,
of dark energy.
but that's on my bucket list. I would like to I'd like to just experience that. But yeah, we had Meredith, Lisa, and Heather, and it was great.
That's
I
incredible.
I hung out with them after, so it was a fun night.
Heather Gay, met her at BravoCon just briefly, and then in the airport, okay, in Vegas, leaving, Heather and Angie and her husband were there, and they were in the TSA pre-check line with me. And so I was trying to like, be cool. And Ingrid, my producer, was like, "Okay, well, I'm going over in the clear line because it's faster." I was like, "Okay, I don't have clear. Bye." So she went over in the clear line. We're in the TSA pre-check line, and finally we all get through together. And then Heather is standing there like looking around, and I was like, "Oh, Heather, I met you. I'm your We start chatting, and then Mandy Slutzker, another
Yeah,
Bravo podcaster, was there with me too. She was like, we met and we started chatting. Okay. And she goes, "I think Angie and her husband left me. I don't know how to get to my gate." And so we're like, "We'll help you. Come on, we're all gonna get on." So all got on the tram together. We chatted. We had the best talk. She was
amazing.
so completely normal.
Yep,
At BravoCon, we made up poker chips, like heavy, real poker chips that had our QR code and everything for the podcast on it.
amazing. So
Nobody steal
smart.
it. TM. So we did that. So we finally got Heather back to Angie K and her husband, and we started chatting with them. And we're, "Oh, nice to meet you." I said, "We're the ones that gave you the fan, and we're the ones that gave you the poker chip." Angie K's husband pulled the poker chip out of his pocket. He goes, "Oh," he goes, "This is the most genius thing I've ever seen." He goes, "It feels like a real poker chip. I couldn't throw it away." And I go, "Well, there's no money, but you will get 10% off our website," or whatever. And he was
Yay.
laughing. We chatted with them forever. Then we go into like the Amex lounge.
Mhm.
and they were there too. And then Heather comes up and was like, "Who came up with this like idea for some of your branding stuff?" And I was like, "Ingrid is right
Mm.
here." And
Yeah, it's
Heather got
genius.
Ingrid's information and was like, "I need somebody like you." I was
Yeah,
like,
she's
"Is,
the real deal.
is Heather
She's the
Gay
real
trying
deal.
to steal Ingrid from me? What's
Listen,
happening?"
Ingrid sounds like a genius, so I think
Listen, don't let her hear this. I don't want her to get a big head.
Ingrid, if you're
I
listening.
No, 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 she'll raise her rates on me. But anyway, I
That's
from
amazing.
that experience with Heather Gay and Angie K even really, I was
Yeah,
like, look, she was at the salad bar with us, like, "Girl, what should we get? Should we go for the ranch?" Like, I mean, could not have been more normal and nice. So I don't kinda like I felt like last year or between seasons, sort of people are skewing towards, "Oh, she got, like, skinny and bought a new
right, right,
house,"
right,
and I was
right.
like, "What's wrong with
Okay.
somebody getting skinny and buying a new house? Why are you a hater?"
Right, it's like, also, like, she's making more money now, like, you don't want her to upgrade her house, like, I don't
She's got
understand
4
that.
kids. I mean,
Right, and she's
what do
been
you
on the
want?
show now for this is her 5th season, like, she's making good money, you know? Like,
Good
let
for
her use
her.
the money, let her use it, yeah, totally.
Good
Yeah,
for her.
she's amazing.
So she was great when you saw her last night.
Great, like, in such great form, she looked amazing before, but she looked so just, like, happy and
Yeah.
at ease, and I love seeing having Lisa and Meredith back as friends is, like, just warms my heart. Like, they're to me, they're just, like, so much better as friends than as foes,
Yeah.
and,
Totally.
I think it was inevitable that they were gonna come back together because they just to me, like, they have a lot in common, they kind of have, like, the same sort of sensibility in some ways, and I'm like, "It makes sense," and I'm glad that they're friends, and they seem very happy as well to
Yeah,
be
and I
aligned
think
again.
yeah, and, like, unlike New Jersey, they can see the writing on the wall. What will happen if
Exactly.
you don't eventually get along? You're
Totally.
gonna be gone. You gotta it's
You gotta
gotta
mix it
wrap
up.
it back around
Yep.
in a nice bow at the end.
Conflict
I also
resolution, baby.
I talked to, Meredith and Brooks at BravoCon as well in one of those little VIP cocktail
Uh-huh.
rooms, gave them a fan as well, and, I mean, Brooks is so, monotone, he's so like, "This is
Yeah.
amazing. My mom's having a burger," and I go, "We just wanna say hi." I was like, "But I'm not gonna bother her, like, she's eating," and he's like, "It's fine. She'll be over here in a minute." He's so like this. He was so nice, and she was so nice.
Yeah,
Meredith was nice too.
I mean, she raised those kids well. She and Seth raised their kids very well. They're really well mannered.
How's Lisa Barlow?
She's
When I go to
heaven.
sleep, I
She's
count Lisa
heaven.
Barlows.
Oh yeah, she's heaven. Like she was like taking her feet were hurting. She was taking her shoes off. She was like trying to set me up with people. She was like, and then the whole thing, a story had come out that day or the day before that day on page 6 where she had lost a $100,000 ring at Fashion Week.
I saw
And
that.
I went up to her and I was like, "Where's the ring?" She's like, "Oh, I found it." And it was on her finger. And I was like, "Nobody knows that yet." And she's like, "Oh my God, let's take a picture together and you're gonna post it and say I found it." And so, so that's what we did. So
Ah,
she was in great form. She was in really great form. Yeah.
that was so nice of her to, like, give you that scoop.
Oh, beyond, and I didn't find it, but like she was like, "Yeah, say you found it." Yeah, she was great.
Okay, well,
They
I'm
were,
very excited. Did they have
yeah.
anything to say about Mary, or are they like, "She's crazy," or it's because she is?
I didn't really ask about Mary. Oh,
Okay.
my doorbell just rang. So
Oh,
shit.
wow. Okay, one last random question for you. I just saw on your Instagram that you just went to Nantucket.
Yes.
Have you ever been
Go.
to Nantucket before?
I go every summer with my family. Yeah.
Okay, this is thank you, Kate Casey. You're the person I
Are you a
need.
Nantucket girl?
I've never been, obsessed with Nantucket,
Oh my
obsessed with
God. I'll
going.
tell you everything you need to know.
So
I'll
my
tell you
friend,
everything you need to know.
I
Yeah.
don't know, my friend Matt Marr, he has a podcast called Reality Gaze, and he's one of my besties. He's here in New York for this TLC party with me as well. He's an actor in LA, that type.
Uh-huh.
And we're the two of us are obsessed with Nantucket, and we're gonna go. And he's like, we're gonna go like in May. We've already
Yes.
like looked for little houses.
Love.
We're sort of deciding like other people can be invited. We might invite Kate Casey. We're just like who will come with us and be like, we're gonna pretend to be like bougie and rich for like 4 or 5 days.
Love.
I've already got, he's like, can I wear a
I'll
bucket
tell you.
hat? I was like, no,
Yes.
yeah.
I was saying you just lean in, but,
Yeah, I'm gonna lean in, but I told him
oh,
he can't.
well, Mary Payne, whenever you lock that in, I will tell you every restaurant to go to. I'll tell you the beaches to go to. I'll
Yes.
give you the whole spiel 100%.
Okay, and don't you
I've
think we
literally
should
gone
go,
there like
like,
15 times.
early May early
Yeah.
May,
Yeah,
so that we
I bet
don't
you
get too much of a touristy season.
that and make sure you go I think in May by May, most of the restaurants and things will be open for the
Yeah.
season, but it'll
Mhm.
also be before
The rush.
the rent for, like, any houses would probably be a little less than it would be in the high season. So it's like, I think May's a good time to go. It'll be beautiful. It'll
Yeah.
be, like, nice and breezy, have a sweater. Love.
Oh,
You're
I'm
gonna
so
you're gonna be
excited.
so
Okay.
happy.
This is why we met.
Period.
I'm so excited. Okay,
Yes.
tell everybody where they can Nantucket not with photos notwithstanding. Tell everybody where they can find your podcast and your Instagram and your Twitter
Yes.
and all that stuff.
Yeah, so my username across social media is Gibsonoma, Gibsonoma, and then my podcast is called Gabbing with Gib, wherever you get your podcasts. We're on YouTube as well, and 2 episodes a week, lots of Bravo talk, some other reality talk, interviews. That's it. Yeah,
Okay. If you
find
ever
me.
need anybody to come on and talk about Bravo, I'm your girl. I'm
Oh,
even watching Below Deck Med right now.
we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. 100%.
Not Summer House though. Don't make me watch Summer House.
Wow. You just lost me there.
I will. I'll
Don't
watch an episode.
disrespect don't disrespect my Hamptonites.
I don't
We're just
disrespect it.
kidding.
Just it's just too late to catch up. I never watched
Yeah.
it. I just can't. Although I did all of a sudden watch like 8 seasons of Miami, so I guess I could
Oh,
catch up.
there we go. There we
I
go.
could. You know, where
Oh my
there's a
god.
will, there's a way, Gibson.
I agree. I
Um,
agree.
okay, thanks so much. Don't hang
Yeah.
up. Ads not read by me, Mary Payne, don't necessarily reflect the views of Pink Shade. If you'd like to listen to ad-free, you're going to go on over to Supercast or Patreon, and you can find the links to Pink Shade Prime at pinkshadepodcast.com.